As the Money Burns is an original podcast by Nikki Woodard. Based on historical research, this is a deep exploration into what happened to a set of actual heirs and heiresses to some of America's most famous fortunes when the Great Depression hits. Each episode has 3 primary sections. Section 1 is a narrative story. Section 2 goes deeper into the historical facts. Section 3 focuses on contemporary, emotional, and personal connections. Story recap. This is the 5th year anniversary recap and teaser of future storylines. Now back to As the Money Burns, The Looking Glass, the 5th anniversary bonus episode. A quick review and highlight for the 5th anniversary of this historical series with hints of future tales. Section 1, Story. Standing in front of a tall mirror, a young lady shapeshifts from one female to another. Younger, older, brunette, blonde, any ethnicity, different life stages. She adjusts her look as she prepares for an exciting night. Her reflection brightens and dims as she anticipates this evening's promises. Will she dance the night away in bliss? Will she finally kiss her prince? Or will she be left to the side and ignored? Alone yet again. Nervous that everything should be just right, she spends hours trying to be perfect, whatever that could mean. The clock strikes, alerting her it is time to head out to the ball. She follows a path lit by twinkling lights and fragrant flowers. A magical night surely awaits her. She enters into a sprawling grand seaside estate. Electrical energy flows through the air. The source is both man-made and otherworldly. Inside the mansion is even more magnificent. The gaiety fills the room. The young lady clutches her invitation and sighs. She is hoping for so much tonight. As the evening wears on, she remains to the side. Uninvited to dance. Ignored for conversation by other equally excited females. Left to watch others have their moment. Another more popular female rival dances with one lad or another. Only that gets little attention, as the young lady stares infatuatedly at her own crush. A prince of sorts, at least in her mind. He is so handsome and debonair as he dances with others who swoon over him too. Anytime he gets close to her path, the young lady swells up in excitement, only to again feel deflated. Then the semi-prince dances with her rival. It's almost too much to bear. An uncomfortable mix of jealousy and envy along with self-pity. As the night progresses, the young lady remains alone, unseen and unnoticed. Eventually, she drifts away into other parts of the mansion, down hallways dimly lit into complete darkness. She finds a door. The knob is stiff. She's about to leave when she hears whispering behind her. She pulls the door open, then slips through, leaving a crack. The shadowy figures of a mischievous and lusty couple sneak into the room. The young lady's eyes adjust only to recognize her crush kissing her rival. In agony, she squeaks, then closes the door shut. The couple jump at the interruption. They look around and find nothing. But to be safe, they move on to another, more remote side of the estate. The young lady turns around to see a staircase leading up and away. She takes one step at a time until she reaches an attic. A treasure trove of relics from the past, pieces of life forgotten and tucked away. She wanders about. Her hand touches items lost in time. Hovered by dust and cobwebs, she sees books and clothing trunks and other curiosities. She finds an antique trunk and opens it, trinkets filled with memories and stories no longer told. An old diary whispers private confessions of unrequited love, heartbreak, and the need for belonging. The young lady explores further. She sits down at an old mirrored vanity. Noticing a pretty red lipstick, she paints her lips. Suddenly, she grows bloated, heavier and heavier, expanding rapidly. She begins to choke. She drops the lipstick, then faints. When she comes to, she gets up to see she is back to normal. She tries to shrug off the hallucination. She picks up a brush and runs it through her hair. With each stroke, she notices she gets a little slimmer. Only it never stops. She becomes so thin she looks skeletal. Her hair falls out in clumps. She jumps up, but the hair disappears. She fears looking back at the vanity, but once again, she appears back to normal. She wanders away, walking past an empty hospital bed. The metal reflects a family gathered around a dying person. Not a loving, cherishing scene, but one where they greedily wait for their inheritance. The young lady sees a dress mannequin with a decaying wedding dress. The veil hangs over a large three-piece dressing mirror. Still nervous, she hesitates. But the romantic in her cannot resist. She puts the veil on her head, then looks into the mirror. Each mirror reflects a different stage in life and love. A wedding, a young family, and old love. She smiles as the people start to become clear. The young man is none other than her crush. This is definitely much more interesting. She leans in closer, already daydreaming of their long life together. Only the bride, the mother, the elderly lady, is not her, but in fact, her rival. Tears stream down the young lady's eyes. She looks away and looks back to find herself alone in the dark. Upset, she goes to pull off the veil. But the veil is not of lace, but a large silvery spider web. In a panic, she struggles to get it off as it clings to her. She flails and knocks over the dressing mannequin into the mirror, shattering it into 1,000 pieces. Each piece of looking glass reveals a different scenario. Beautiful dreams that distort into nightmares. She runs out of the attic and stumbles down the stairs. Dejected, she heads back to the ball. Only the mansion is quiet and dark. The partygoers are all gone. Silence everywhere. She avoids looking at any reflection. Frustrated and more afraid of a future still unknown, she walks the deserted way back home. Certain heartbreak is her destiny. Section 2, History and Historiography. Over the last year, our tales have grown and multiplied. Little seeds planted long ago are now coming to fruition. The fairy tale dreams of love and riches fade quickly, as love is rarely so simple, and riches never enough for the needy and greedy. One wedding might not be enough, so better make it 2, or 3, or 4. Who's counting? One might remain only a bridesmaid, while others become a bride over and over and over again. A grand wedding grabs all the attention, but the honeymoon isn't so sweet. Marrying in haste and repenting in leisure is no guarantee either, when the unentangling is far more complex. Still, the unlucky in love will head back down the aisle more than once in hopes that this next time they might be more lucky. Everyone loves a circus for a day, but a greater and longer lasting show comes from divorce scandals. When the clowns take over, crowds cheer and jeer as the spotlight glares. Alas, the show never ends, as cage birds will still sing, and there's always another willing victim for a diamond ring. A boxer in the ring, a polo prince, and a missing tennis star all know how to win a match, but games of love and fortune are rarely so succinct. It's so much easier adjusting to a life of silk and caviar. Who wants to become a pauper after living like a king? 21 candles bring lots of celebration as fortunes are finally gained. Well, somewhat. Boys might have more fun and freedom, while girls still face constant supervision. There will always be someone ready to help spend a fortune, but what happens if it all disappears? Love can make you do crazy things, but it can also make you crazy. One marries from a hospital bed. A failed engagement sends another around the world. Two break down and need a retreat. Then, unexpected love strikes again. As the plots thicken, with so many diamonds, emeralds, rubies, and pearls to go around, it's hard to imagine how someone can get so jaded. Even a con man gets conned. One can be married and a widow at the same time with the same spouse. A slap heard across the nation. Then there leaves one final question. If it was true love, why did it turn so cold? Nothing keeps the flames of fake passion going, not even gold. More complex and intricate tales await as the game of love and fortune continues. Section 3: Contemporary and Personal Relevance. Well, here we are. We made it through another year of chaos and scandal, both in these tales and in real life. A seemingly endless year of setbacks and obstacles of almost every conceivable variation: technological, health, familial, personal, cultural, political, existential, and whatnot. While for me, most have been, thankfully, overcomable, I must admit I'm a little beaten up, and yet still determined to plow through the next set of challenges. I might be a little crazy, but that's how I'm wired to deal with stress. Every time I encounter a seeming setback, I reevaluate my goals and dreams, do some calculations, and then for the things I really care about, I try to make a decision that pushes me past the obstacle ahead. Recent delays have been more than frustrating, but somehow and in some way, I'm using them to improve the story. Small, seedling storylines are now blossoming into full-blown mini arcs, and they add so much detail and vivacity to the story, I can't ignore and not share them. By now, my ever expanding research includes over 5,000 articles, books, websites, and other sources, continually discovering new tidbits, finding revelations within photographs, uncovering new perspectives through personal writings, and unlocking details previously unknown or forgotten. All this leads to a very intricate, elaborate web connecting each to the other, where a vibration from one link travels to the others. This isn't a simple retelling of history. It's a reconstruction of a bygone era, with multiple POV perspectives bringing a more nuanced and comprehensive analysis of human nature. This soap operatic tale is far from over, as we have only begun to get to the good stuff. I hope you continue the journey with me. Now it's time to head into our 6th year of Tales. There are so many good things coming our way. 5 years is a lot of work. I want to thank my listeners for spending their time with me. I love when they reach out and tell me of a new discovery, what they relate to, and what is going on in their lives. As well, here are a few creator friends that have continually given me support through their platforms. Mansions of the Gilded Age and the Gilded Age Society by Gary Lawrence, New York Adventure Club, and Stories Among the Stones. Links in the notes and transcript. Lastly, I want to thank one of the most memorable part of every single episode, now 126 and counting. Over these whole 5 years, and now heading into a 6th, there has been one solid partnership throughout, and that is Past Perfect Vintage Music, a wonderful collection of digitally restored music from the 1920s, 1930s, and 1940s. This podcast would not be the same without its special musical touch for my transitions as well as opening and ending credits. Archival music featuring many great band classics with stars like Benny Carter, the Savoy Orpheans, Carol Gibbons, Roy Fox, only to name a few. But it's not just my podcast where you can find their amazing collection. Past Perfect has its own digital radio station. From your home or work, you can enjoy the daily schedule, based on the UK time zone, of vintage mornings, long lunch, an hour long with World War II songs, followed by All That Jazz, a tea time show, Noel's nightly interlude with Noel Coward, then showtime from musicals and movies with lots of Fred Astaire, lastly love songs, then vintage music after dark. It can be as simple as asking Amazon's Alexa to turn on Past Perfect Vintage Radio, also available on TuneIn Radio and MyTuner Radio apps. For more information, check out www.pastperfect.com/radio. Links in the notes and transcript. Once again, here's the full main song featured in every episode of As the Money Burns, all 126 so far, and for the next to come. My Heart Belongs to Daddy by Billy Cotton. If you enjoy As the Money Burns, then please share, like, and subscribe. Next, when we return to As the Money Burns, plenty more tales of greed, lust, envy, pride, betrayal, and heartbreak to come. Until then, As the Money Burns is an original podcast written, produced, and voiced by Nikki Woodard based on historical research. Archival music has been provided by Past Perfect Vintage Music. Check out their website at www.pastperfect.com. Please come visit us at As the Money Burns via GoodPods X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, now Meta, or Instagram. Transcripts, timeline, episode guide, and character bios are available at asthemoneyburns.com.
Though I'm in love, I'm not above a date with a duke or a caddy. But that's a pose, for my baby knows that my heart belongs to Daddy. When some good scout invites me out to dine on some fine Finnan headies, my baby's sure his love is secure, 'cause my heart belongs to Daddy. Yes, my heart belongs to Daddy, so I simply couldn't be bad. Yes, I'm gonna marry Daddy. Da 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 da. If you feel romantic, laddie, let me warn you right from the start that my heart belongs to Daddy, and my Daddy belongs to my heart. warn you, laddie, though I know you're perfectly swell, that my heart belongs to Daddy, 'cause my daddy, he treats it so well.